Cool. Well, yeah, my goal today, guys, is well, first I'm wearing my USA shirt for, the good old USA Olympics, right? So I don't know if any of y'all have been watching the Olympics. But how many of you guys got your workout in today? Throw it in the chat. Say did it. Just throw it in the chat if you did it. Throw it in the chat. Say did it. Did it. Bam. Done. Love it. Let's go. Let's go. Cool. Cool. All right. This is a way I love to start my days. So, but yeah, one of the things is one of the quotes that I really liked from these Olympics, and the guy who won the gold in the dual moguls event. But he said, "I gave everything I had, no regrets. I didn't feel too nervous. I trusted my plan, and I trusted the work that I put in with my team, and just went for it." Right. So it's like he said, I gave everything I had, so he had no regrets. I didn't feel too nervous, right? Because he had plan. He had trusted his plan, and he trusted the people that he was working with, and just went for it, went all in. And I was like, dang, like that's pretty impressive. So just the comeback stories or just seeing like the dedication of these athletes made me think like, man, like how dedicated can we be to our craft, right? And I think there's a lot of times where the dedication to the skills that we're trying to learn isn't where it should be, right? And I've referenced this book before, and I'll probably reference a few today, but it's like basically learn anything in 20 hours, right? So whether you're learning the YouTube, learning sales, learning real estate, like whatever it is, like how do you quicken the feedback loops that you get so that you can make adjustments? And so in that book, like the first three chapters is all you really need to read and then after that, he just gives examples of how he learned a bunch of different things, like fun things that he wanted to learn from this basically what I'll call wireframing on how to learn something. And so I think sales skills is a learned thing, right? Like and real estate in general is a learned thing. Like people don't come out of the womb just being a great real estate agent, right? Like that's not how it happens. Like it's something that you put in the time, you put in the work, you put in the effort. And that's why, Mike always says the best student wins. And because it's true, right? Like if you're as long as you're willing to be humble, hungry, and willing to learn, like you're gonna that's it. That's the name of the game. And so, when I first got into the business, I didn't have like a big sphere or anything like that. So I decided to work expires and FISBOs. But I learned through time like how to ask the right questions. And like so now I can make 10 calls and I have a way higher success rate. Like before, I'd have to make like 100 calls, right? But anyways, with the leads that are coming into your system, like I hope to be able to give you guys some tools just to ask simple questions and be able to get good results, right? And so I use something called question-based selling now. There's a gal at our last Las Vegas event, and I was talking to her before the event. She's like, "You could sell ice to an Eskimo." I was like, "Thanks," but like my goal isn't like to sell somebody because I can hard close somebody, but I think when you can use like question-based selling and become more position yourself and as an advisor, it really changes the game. And so my goal today is that you guys can use some of these questions to close your leads and have a better, like if you're going to make 10 calls, like why not be able to close 9 out of 10 versus, 1 out of 10, right? And so that's my hope here. So I'm gonna reference a few books. I'll throw them in the chat. I don't have links for them. I should get a little link thing for them, but I don't. So one book I really like is Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. I think this is a great book on negotiating, whether you're negotiating your deals with the other agent, negotiating. I think you negotiate with your kids every day, and your kids are a heck of a negotiator, right? If you got kids, like they're just relentless. So, but yeah, so Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss is a great book. I strongly suggest it. He talks about he's an FBI agent and now he owns Swan something invest or global whatever. Black Swan something I think. Anyways, it's like basically he is a consultant for big companies and negotiating, and a lot of top real estate agents have referenced his book, and it's a good one. And then Go for No is another great book. So if you haven't read it, I definitely suggest it. It's just a simple mindset of going for no. And the whole idea of it is if Steph Curry's hot in the game and you don't take Steph out. Like if Steph is dropping 40, 50 points, like you're not taking him out. He's just like you're gonna keep him in. And so it's like a lot of times when we're hitting our sales, it's like we hit one or we hit two, and we're like, all right, good, I'm done. Like I made my 1 or 2 sales for the month. But what would happen if you were like dude, I'm hot. I'm going for no. Like I'm going for the amount of no's, not the amount of yeses. And you were able to land another 5 deals because you were just in the flow. And so I think it's important to have that type of mindset. And so I think Going for No is another great book. And then New No BS Sales by Dan Kennedy. His whole, all his books by No BS Marketing the Affluent, No BS, time management. All his books are great, but No BS Sales is great. I think it's a really good book. So if you put those on the yeah, Marcelino Black Swan, that's it. Yeah, so if you put those books on your to read list, I strongly suggest those books. I think they'll help you become a better salesperson. But the one question that I think can really convert any lead, and there's a series of questions and it's stacking them. But I use, like I said, question based selling. And the one question that Michael used to scale his ISA team, and you literally take people who hadn't been that great at sales, but I mean, it's just questions, right? So you can teach anybody to ask a question, and that way it can qualify them, right? Because when you're asking questions, you're qualifying somebody, making them think, all of those things. And so it's like, are you looking to make a move in the next 6 to 12 months, right? That should be one of the first questions that you ask your client or the lead that's on the phone. Like, hey, because then like, are they looking to make a move? And it's not, and it's the follow up question to that is, do you know somebody looking to make a move in the next 6 to 12 months, right? So it's like less threatening if you come across as somebody. So I'm going to play a video here in a little bit, and I'm going to talk about afterwards, like stacking value propositions and what that looks like. Talk about handling objections, all of those things. But I truly believe, like, if you just had these questions, you'd be better. And if you'd practiced, right? Like, if you look at, when I was training agents, I was like, man, you can, and I told myself this too, like, I could either practice my listing presentation with myself or in the mirror or whatever it was, and it could, and and I'd be prepared, or I could practice on a $30,000 opportunity, right? Because when you sit down with $1 million client, like, that's a $30,000 paycheck. And if you're practicing your presentation on that, or even on your phone calls, like if you're calling a multi-million dollar expired listing, or you're calling, we're working a cash offer here in a market, and it's a high net worth individual, and being able to handle his questions and fire back questions and objections and all of that stuff. Like, if I wasn't prepared, then you're just gonna miss, and you don't want to miss on opportunities like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. So this is a call that I took during one of our coaching calls that we do, and the guy said that he hadn't been calling his leads. And so maybe some of you guys have seen this video if you've watched any of our live events. But I ask like four really simple questions, and it's for me. I want you to write down what these questions are, because it's number one, it was somebody I've never met before. Absolutely somebody I've never met in a different market. And I closed him as a listing when it was a buyer. It was a new construction lead that had come into the system. Just like a lot of you guys are running new construction leads, right? So I wanted to show you with these questions how easy it can be to convert a lead. And it's just somebody over the phone, right? And so learning this skill and even being able to duplicate this skill could be super important for you guys, right? So um, whether you're training a new agent or an ISA, inside sales assistant, or whoever you're training, it's going to be important for you guys to at least have this dialed in. So I'm going to share my screen and play this for you guys real quick, and then I'm going to dive into value stacking and what that looks like. So let me do this. I want you guys to write down the questions that I ask on this call, and I think you guys should be able to hear it. Let me see. The 161 people, he hasn't talked to one person.
See, I think we activated it. It was when we created this campaign.
All right, hold on. Go up to the top. All right. Stay there for a second.
We had it disabled. That's what I told you. The call connection. Like he's not trying to call them anymore.
Hello? Hey, this is Kyle. Cool. I was calling because we have some new construction in the area, and I was curious. We saw you come into our system. Are you guys looking for a new construction home? No. No. Okay. Are you guys looking to make a move in the next 6 to 12 months? No. Why did you click on the ad? No, I'm just joking. Do you know anybody looking to make a move? No idea. Okay. You don't know anybody looking
The 12
people?
months.
He hasn't talked to one person.
Hold up.
Out of 161 people, he hasn't talked to one person.
See, I think we activated it. It was when we created this campaign.
All right, hold on. Go up to the top. All right. Stay there for a second.
We had it disabled. That's what I told you. The call connection. Like he's not trying to call them anymore.
Hello? Hey, this is Kyle Kunkel. I was calling because we have some new construction in the area, and I was curious. We saw you come into our system. Are you guys looking for a new construction home? No. No. Okay. Are you guys looking to make a move in the next 6 to 12 months? No. Why did you click on the ad? No, I'm just joking. Do you know anybody looking to make a move? No idea. Okay. You don't know anybody looking to make a move in the next 6 to 12 months? All right. Would you do you want a home value? Are you curious in knowing how much your home is worth in today's market? Okay, according to Zillow. To what I say it's worth. What do you think it's worth? What would you say it's worth? If I had a cash offer for you today, would you take it for 600,000? No? Okay. Well, we do have buyers in your area who are looking and they're cash offer buyers. So if you are interested, you know, maybe 6 months from now, you can give us a call back. Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate your time. So I could keep it on file. Okay. Okay. So let me make sure I have your number right. So, okay. And then I just butchered your, okay. What's your ethnicity? That's a unique last name. Polish. I know some good Polish guys. They own hotels. Yep. Okay, cool. All right. So I have it. I'm going to actually, let me make sure I have your address here. Correct. What's your address? Eight. Yeah. Westfield, Indiana. So are you a Hoosier fan? No, I'm a Green Bay Packer fan. Awesome. Yeah, my grandpa was a great 4-6. Say again? Okay, awesome. Yeah, my grandpa was a Packer fan. They're from that area. All right, Stan. Well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it in our cash offer system, and then I'll go ahead and email it over to you, and you guys can just have it in your system. And if you guys do decide to make a move in the next 6 to 12 months, you can just give me a call. All right, thank you. My name is Kyle. Okay. Yeah, we work all over the country, but we have special agents, real estate agents in your specific market. So, okay. Yes, sir. Alrighty. Thank you, Stan. Bye. All right. So, Westrum, you there?
Yeah.
So, your guy's just not calling them. I just got a lead who's looking to make a move potentially off one call out of 160. All right. So, my number one point there is make sure you call your leads. But what were some of the questions that I asked? You guys can throw it in the chat or you can unmute and talk.
Are you guys looking for new construction in the area?
Yep. What else?
Would you be curious in knowing the value of your home?
Yep.
Do you know anybody else that might be looking to buy?
Yep.
I put it in the chat, but like the bonding questions I think are good, you know, asking, oh, what's your heritage or, and I just think weaving that in increases the chances of his either taking your call again or remembering you or calling you back. I felt like by the end of the call, he trusted you a little bit more and he asked for your name again. And I think if you
Correct.
hadn't bonded a little bit, that might not have happened. And it's those
Absolutely.
little wins with people that might make the difference. And I was half expecting that call to turn around, like to completely turn around, where once you bonded with him a little more, then he was going to soften and then maybe say, well, actually, I've had that happen. So I think those are really important.
Yep. Absolutely. What else?
You also asked him how much he thought the value of his house was, and if you brought him a cash buyer would be interested in selling.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yep. So I think you guys got most of them. And it's really I think there's big thing like, hey, saw that you're interested in new construction, right? And then he said no. He said no to basically everything, right? That was it. And at the end, I mean, he was a new construction lead. So number one, I didn't have his address. Number two, I didn't even like have I verified his number, right? All those things. But he said no to, wasn't interested in new construction. Didn't know anyone looking to make a move. Wasn't, told me how much his home was worth. And he even said no to the cash offer. But then at the end, he was like, "Well, what's your info, right?" And so, like, he was interested, he was intrigued, and it's because, in my opinion, and not just my opinion, I guess it's just like the facts. Like the top 13 teams in the country run the cash offer as their top offer, right? You go to their landing page, you go to their website, it's front and center cash offer. That's basically it. And so for you guys, like, stacking different offers is going to be really, really important. So whether it's a cash offer, whether it's, the incentives for working with our new construction people, you have to nail your offer. If you're a luxury agent, like what is your offer? Like what 50% of your success is is your ability to clearly articulate your value proposition. And if you cannot tell me why I should do business with you versus somebody else, you've already failed. 50% is failure, right? Like if you get a 50% on a test, that's an F. And so you got a bunch of agents running around out there without a true value proposition, and they're trying to have conversations with people who they don't know, and they're failing because they don't have a value proposition. And so leverage our value propositions, whether it's the cash offer or maybe you get certified with this, when you come to the 2-day event, you get the buyer certification and the seller certification, all those things. Like, we use a proven repeatable system backed by market research to help people sell for up to 18% more than traditional methods. Like, stack the offers. So if they say no to the cash offer, then it's just a listing tool. I roll right into, hey, we can sell your house for up to 18% more than traditional methods. Like, so being able to stack offers is going to be really, really important, because whoever makes the most offers on the best platforms is going to win, right? And so as you have conversations with people, you really have to ask questions and get clarity and also connect, which is a major thing. Like when you're going through, like if you ever gone through our CHSA like sellers presentation, like one of the first things that I learned was you don't just go straight to the table. You ask for them to give you the grand tour, right? You take your shoes off at the door, and whoever gives you the grand tour is probably going to be the person who's more along the decision maker, unless the wife says, hey, do you want to give him the grand tour? Like whoever delegates the grand tour or gives the grand tour, says, I'll do it, is going to be more of the decision maker, right? And all these little things. And when you walk around the house and you can connect with them, be like, oh, you're an Ohio State fan. Awesome. Like just finding different connection pieces that you can connect with them. Like that's going to be major. And so when you're walking through the house, there's signs everywhere. If figure out what they love to do, whether it's golf or all these things. And there's even like different things you can look up on people with data wise. Like you can see, you can see if they have a ski pass. You can see if they own multiple homes. You can see their net worth. You can see the different nonprofits they give to you. So you know the passion points. And all of those things go into is preparation for the listing presentation, right? And that's going into the next step of going and getting a higher dollar listing. But it all starts here. Like it starts with the conversation on the phone. And if you can't ask the right questions, you can't yeah, I mean, if you can't ask the right questions, then you guys are going to miss. And so I want to encourage you guys to really, shift your thinking around all these people that you're talking to on the phone and just start asking questions, right? And have 4 of them like stacked up, like, hey, or sorry that you're interested in new construction, and expect them to say no. We are trained for like, if someone walks into the store and they ask, hey, can I help you? You're going to say no. Like, that's just how you are. Like, that's just how we're built. We're trained to say no, and that's okay. Like you should be going for 4 or 5 no's in the conversation, and you should be using their name 4 or 5 times, like having a little tally mark when you have a conversation with them. Like when I talk to somebody, I tally how many times I use their name, because then your name is the sweetest, like it's the sweetest words in your language, whatever language you speak, which most people hear is English, but it's the sweetest words in the English language to you, to your ears, is your name. And so when other people say your name, you just automatically start to listen or you tune in. And so those are all really big keys to connecting with them, right? And even over the phone, like how do you connect with a complete stranger, right? That's a hard thing to do. And Lisa brought up a great point. Like, hey, like you were just asking, about his heritage and about, the football. Like, I mean, if you think about it, like sports is one of the biggest connecting pieces. Music is probably the next. And then after that, like anytime that's why our Spanish funnel works so well, like is because there's just less competition. And anytime that you see someone speaking your language, like you're disconnected with that person, right? It's like we were on the other side of the world in Turkey, and I saw a buddy coming down the escalator, and I was like, "Terrence?" He's like, "Kyle?" Like we're on the other side of the world, and I saw a buddy, and obviously, I mean, we speak same language too, and it was just like instant connection. And so, being able to, connect with people on those things is going to be major, right? Or things they care about, whether it's their kids, right? All of those things are important, and when you're having these conversations with people, so
All
stack your value proposition, learning to have fun along the way. Like, hey, like, why'd you click on the ad then? And know that most of these leads are converting at a lower rate, but this is a buyer. I mean, this is somebody who's interested in real estate, period. And you got to understand, like, what are they actually looking for, right? And this is my next point is like my number one question when I'm having a conversation with somebody, whether it's attracting an agent or whether it's selling a house or whether it's anything is like, what is it that you want? Like, what is the main thing that you're trying to solve right now? Because if they tell me that they're trying to solve a different problem, like his problem wasn't even about necessarily new construction. His problem was he was interested in real estate, but he probably couldn't have bought unless he sold his house, right? And so it's like understanding like what is what is the problem that they're trying to solve? And so if you ask that, that's one of the number one questions I say, hey, what are you trying to solve right now? Like what's the number one thing that you're trying to solve? And I'm going to give you guys my notes because I have them here. But asking that question, stacking value proposition, one of the things that I think with objection handling, and I'll share my screen here on this. So this was an SOP when I was training some agents on expireds and FISBOs and stuff like that. But the objection handling is really the same. I don't use it as much, but I thought I'd throw it in here. But because I don't really get objections when I ask the questions like I do. But the question, like I used to sell more like this, which is good. But the question based selling that I've kind of moved more towards, I feel like gets a lot better results. And so I'm going to show you that next. But I thought like, hey, this is still good for you to understand like what are the objections that you're getting, and for two reasons, right? Number one is you should write down all of the objections that you get from these leads or any lead in general or any person right now who's looking to buy or sell real estate, like what are their objections? You should write them all down and then you should have answers to those objections so you can like respond like, bam, like get those responses like back to them. Like, because you want to be able to fire off the handling of the objection, right? Is number one. Number two is this is good. This is a good way to create a VSL, right? I started getting a lot less objections when I had people watch a video before they got on a call with me. And so marketing's job done right does 90% of the selling. And so before anyone gets on the call with you, they watch a 2 to 3 minute video that disarms all of their objections. They may not know it's doing that, but it changes everything, right? And so it changes the entire conversation, it sets expectations, all of those things. And so when that can be done, your phone calls are going to be a lot smoother, right? So there's really two reasons to write down your objections. One, so you can make a BSL, and two, so you can understand the objections and you can actually handle them as they come, right? So I'm gonna share this sheet with you guys, but you can acknowledge the objection, right? Like where you say, you're right, I'm with you, tell me more, I agree. Those are all acknowledging their objections, right? And then you isolate, like what are your other concerns? What else bothers you? Do you have any other real concerns, right? If I could solve that one thing, would there be anything else, right? So all of those things are kind of isolating the objection of that person, and then you validate. So what's your real objection, right? What's the real concern that you have? What do you mean? Like why do you say that? Like those are all little questions that you can ask. You're kind of like trying to dig for the real reason, right? Because most people's objections are just excuses. They're not real objections. And so you got to get to the core thing that's keeping them from moving forward. And if you can find that and you can solve that, then it's a different game, right? And so I have a whole video on this that's in here. I'm going to drop this SOP for you guys. So one of the sly things that you can use in the midst of like kind of isolating the objection, you can say, and this is more like a harder close, but you could say, that wouldn't keep you from moving forward, would it? Like that wouldn't keep you from working with us, would it? Like those are things that you can slide into your conversations. And they're like, well, because then you really find out, is that a real objection? Is that truly going to keep them from working with you? Right. And here's the reasons why people don't buy, right? Price, terms, stalls, time, right? Most of the time, it's a complaint, not a true objection. Acknowledge the complaint, and then continue to move forward. So this is kind of a little bit more of a hard close. It can work depending on the person, the circumstances, all of that. I do like it in certain circumstances. I think they're good questions to do, and I still do pieces of it, like acknowledging, like, you're right, tell me more. Like, well, if we could solve that one thing, would there be anything else? Like, what else is there? Like, you're just trying to really get to the reason of why they wouldn't want to work with you or the reason they're saying no, or and you can use all this stuff when you're trying to set the appointment. Here's my main questions that I use when I'm talking to anybody with anything, like, and it's just really question based, and it's really easy. I'm really easy about it, and it's a lot more fun to me, right? So these are the questions. So I have this objection handling that I'm going to give you guys. But these questions are questions that I like to use now in every conversation. So what's the main thing that you're trying to solve right now? Like, what is it? Like, what's the big thing that they're and the way this would work, right? In a conversation with a seller or a buyer, like, you may think that them selling their house is the main thing, but maybe they share with you like the main thing is like, what are you trying to solve right now? Well, I'm trying to solve for and they may not come out and say it right away, but they're like, we need to sell to be closer to my dad, right? And then the next question is, well, why now? Like, why is that important to you now? And I'm going to write that in here because that's what I say. Why now? Why is, and when you ask that, they're going to give you the why, like the true why, like the true, like reason behind why they're moving, right? Oh, I need to be closer. My dad has Alzheimer's and we need to be, so that's their why. We want to be close to our kids, our grandkids. Like, you're going to hear the real why of why they're moving. It could be a financial situation. It could be they lost their job. It could be they're going through divorce. It could be all of the things. But why is it important to them now that they're trying to sell their house? Like, why didn't they try to sell it 6 months ago? Why didn't they try to sell it a year ago? Why don't they wait a year? Like, why now? Like, what is the reason why now? And that's one of my favorite questions to people. And then one of the other things I ask them is like, well, what's keeping you from doing it on your own? Because now there's a lot of different options for them to do it on their own. And they feel inadequate. They don't feel like they can do it on their own because of a reason. And they're going to tell you why. And that's going to be the positioning that you take, right? So when they say, well, we're just not the best at marketers, or, we don't have time for it, or we don't understand the contract, or we haven't sold a home in 6 months or 6 years, not 6 months, but 6 years, or whatever it is, right? They're going to tell you why they see the value that you are bringing, right? And so that's important. And even on the phone conversation versus just a listing presentation, like, you're asking them like, why don't you guys just do it on your own? Why don't you? Because people can. So there's a reason why. And then you reiterate back to them because this, when you ask that question, it makes them acknowledge that one, they need you. And two, it makes them acknowledge that they can't do it on their own. Right. And it's really important for people to acknowledge that with this question based selling. The next thing that I really like to say is, so basically you're here because, and I'll insert the pain, right? Whether it's, hey, you're here because you're trying to sell your house for the most amount of money, or you're trying to buy a house in this market and save the most amount of money, and whatever. And if we could, you insert the pain, right? Hey, it's a real estate agent. It's like, you're here because you don't have leads, right? You insert that pain, and then you give them the dream outcome, right? So you forward paste them, or you reiterate what they told you what they want, right? So their dream outcome is the first thing that they told you, like they're trying to solve. So, hey, you're trying to be with your grandkids, and so you forward paste them into what they want, and they're gonna say yes, like that's what, yeah, that's exactly it. And then then you at that point you ask for permission. Can I share what I would do based on what you just told me, right? And that is them giving you permission to speak into their life, right? And at that point you can position whatever it is. But if you don't know what they want, then you can't position what you have to give them, because maybe the cash offer isn't what they need. Maybe, maybe the how, maybe it is what they need, but it needs to be positioned differently. Hey, there's actually a rent back program where you can rent back for 3 to 4 months, and that would be perfect for your timing, right? And so you position it based on what they really need. And so I think a lot of salespeople, or just real estate agents miss because they roll right into what they want to do or their value proposition without really knowing the person and what they need and why they need it and the timing and all of those things. And so when you can ask the right question, it changes the game. So, and then I have a video down here that I won't play, but it was a buyer lead that came in. He was looking for like a $2 million property, and we ended up, being able to get him on the hook for like over $20 million worth of real estate. And so and it's all question based. So I'll drop that in for you guys I'll just give you guys these notes. But we got 5 minutes, and I want to be respectful of your guys' time. So you guys can ask some questions, and I'll drop these in the chat for you guys.
My question would be, what's the one thing that you'll implement moving into this week, talking to the leads from the funnel?
What I'll say, I think y'all's one thing should be is just like, have your questions dialed in. So when you call the leads, you can ask the questions, right? Like, hey, the same questions that I asked to the live lead that came in through someone else's lead, right? And I think if you just have your questions ready, and that's what you practice with and you start asking the questions, I think you're going to find it a lot easier to convert these leads. So, any other questions? Y'all don't got no questions? You guys are just going to crush it, crush the leads, convert everyone. I like it.